welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Victoria and I've been vlogging about manipulation, narcissism and toxic relationships in general over the last few weeks. If you're new here, thanks for clicking on my video. I hope you stay. And if you're a continued subscriber, as always, I hope I provide insights that might fulfill and enrich your life. So as promised, today's video is it's about how you can live with a narcissist, because I'm always talking about how you need to walk away, stay away when you can, and just avoid them at all costs. But sometimes it's impossible to do that. And for example, if your parent is a narcissist, or if you have a sibling who is a narcissist, or if you have an employer who is a narcissist and you really need the money, or even if it's a romantic relationship and for some reason you're too invested to leave, then you might benefit from knowing how to live with a narcissist without messing your life up. So one of the things, the most important, before I start, this is just a disclaimer. Most of these things are going to sound like you're walking on eggshells, and that's because when you're dealing with a narcissist, you just have to be careful and strategic and calculating, I guess. So let's go ahead. The first thing that you need to do is stay calm. This is the most important thing that you need to do when you're living with a narcissist. You have to stay calm throughout. Like, they're going to try and get you worked up. They're going to try and hurt you on a personal level, but you just need to stay calm. When they start acting out and lashing out, try to always be as calm as possible when you're communicating with a narcissist. And I think this is the main idea behind the gray rock method of dealing with a narcissist. And this method is just generally, it's being as boring and just don't provide any kind of fun for the narcissist, because they mostly stir up trouble so that they can maybe, I don't know, just enrich their lives with the drama that they start. So the grey rock method is staying boring and uninteresting, so that even if they push your buttons, they're not going to get a reaction out of you, and they'll basically get bored in the end. But of course you can't do this forever, and so you need to stay calm and just pick your battles. There will be many instances that you might want to fight with a narcissist. There will be many arguments, but try and not sweat the small stuff, because there are going to be bigger battles to fight, like when you have to actually set boundaries and stick to them. And this is actually the second method that you can use to live with a narcissist, not with a boundary. It's setting boundaries and making sure that you're firm and consistent. So if you maybe find that the narcissist in your life throws a tantrum whenever you have to sit down and do some work, then tell them that the next time you throw a tantrum while I'm trying to work, maybe you are going to take away a certain privilege from them or anything. You know who they are, you know how to negotiate with them, so you're going to need to learn how to negotiate. And the better you can negotiate, hopefully the better your life with the narcissist is going to be, although this is not a guarantee. Just make sure that you are firm. They understand that you're not going to be worked on, although you are living in fear of them, but don't let them smell your fear. And make sure that they know that certain things are a no-go for you, like a complete no. So another tip to help you live with a narcissist is you need to not take their behavior personally. understand that it's in their nature to try and break you down, to tell you that you're overweight, you're too thin, you're too loud, you're too silent, you're stupid, you're ugly, you have no self-control. They will say very personal things, but you need to understand that this is more of the problem than it's a reflection of your character. And don't give them power over your emotions. Don't give them power enough to like spoil your entire day with just one mean remark, because if they notice that they can do that, trust me, they will keep doing it because it gives them a sense of accomplishment, a sick sense of accomplishment. And that's what they live for. They live for these small, cheap, fast thrills that really shouldn't make sense to a mature person. And another tip to living with a narcissist is to treat them like they are a toddler, maybe like a 2-year-old who's having a terrible case of the terrible twos. Just understand that they are actually mentally unwell. And the same way that you will react to a toddler who's throwing a tantrum is often the way you're going to react to a person with narcissistic personality disorder. It may sound a bit silly, I guess, but because they are mentally unwell, they're not in complete control of their actions, of their emotions. But on the same page, you don't need to be responsible for their emotions and their actions. They are unwell, but they're still adults. If you set firm boundaries and you follow through with the threats that you threaten them that you're going to do if they cross them, they just might get in line and you're going to be in luck. So another tip for dealing with a narcissist is to make sure you don't isolate yourself. They will typically want you to be alone so that they can have all your attention and affection, and it can be easier to control you. And they also know that what they're doing to you is abuse, and they know that someone who's outside their reach, outside their manipulation, their manipulative power, they might see through their nonsense and call them out and maybe pull you out of the situation. And you don't want they don't want that to happen. But if you've made peace with the fact that you have to exist with a narcissist, then just make sure that you have a social circle of people who you can rely on, not people who just tell you nice things and empty nothings, people who can actually objectively tell you, this has gone too far, this has to stop. And if you need help, people who can help you out, actually. If you can't find people like that, then maybe just don't bother filling your life with more empty people who might take more out of it. But try and keep a straight head on when you're dealing with a narcissist. It's going to be easier, in my experience, it's going to be easier for you to do this if you have some people around you who can help, even if it's just one person. They'll make all the difference in the world. So another tip to help you live successfully with a narcissist is to take care of yourself. Don't let your self-esteem go to hell, because that's what they're trying to do to you. They don't want to see you being happy, and that's something I'm going to talk about in a separate vlog, because I lived through it and I got really disappointed when I figured out that that was the case. They don't want you to be happy and satisfied in yourself, but if you want to have a relationship with them and not end up breaking yourself, then you have to work on yourself. Maintain a weight and appearance that feels comfortable for you. Just do you, basically. Do things that make you stay true to yourself. Don't get lost in the world that the narcissist has created, like try to fit a certain body type or change your fashion sense just because they like that. Maybe you can use that as a bargaining chip. Tell them that if they stop pushing your buttons, you're going to give them, you will maybe buy an outfit or two that they like, something like that. So another tip for you, if you have to live with a narcissist, is to educate yourself. There are there's a constant flow of information online about narcissism, and a good deal of it is from legitimate sources. It's from research that's been done by psychologists and therapists. So by this point in time, there's a lot of information on narcissistic personality disorder. If you want to be able to fight your battle successfully with a narcissist, learn as much as you can about them. And I will personally say that learning about NPD is what helped me know that I had to set a boundary, and when that boundary was crossed, I did what I had to do, and my life has improved drastically as a result of that. Otherwise, I would have just been lost, because it's really hard to fight what you don't know. Like, you need to know what you're dealing with so that you can find an effective cure for it. Different narcissists will respond to different things in different ways. So you know your narcissist, you know what you're going to do to them to get a better response out of them. Another thing that's extremely important, and that's actually the last tip, is that you need to understand when you need help. Living with a narcissist, like I've said before, is an extreme sport. They will wear you down, and you will be in a state of constant fatigue, mental, spiritual, physical. You'll just be so tired all the time because you're constantly tense, you're scared, your sense of fight or flight is like just going off every single second when you're awake. So make sure you don't fall off the deep end. If a narcissist pushes you beyond what you're comfortable with, then know that there are signs that you shouldn't ignore. Like, if you start showing serious signs of depression or anxiety or even post-traumatic stress, because that happens because you're in a very stressful situation. You're basically at war, and you know your enemy, but you don't know what their next move is. So it's a bad feeling. It does things to you in all levels, at all levels of your being. So when you get to a point where you feel like you are like at the very end, just know some of these signs and be ready to do what it takes to preserve yourself, to stay alive. Just don't lose your will to live because you're stuck with a narcissist. When you do that, maybe you will find a way to pull back and reset and go back to battle refreshed, or you will have a method to unwind, like daily, maybe listening to some music you like or watching a show you enjoy. Writing, journaling, in my case, making beadwork was really helpful. It allowed me to take a step back from the situation and just take back a part of my life, a good part of it at least. So I've gone back to the analog age. I wrote down my notes, and I was having a hard time trying to read them from the notepad up on my laptop, but I'm going to work on a setup that will work. And that's all I have for you today. I hope that these tips are going to give you an idea of a way to enrich your life if you have to be with a narcissist. And while I've shared these tips, honestly, as always, if living is an option, it's always the best option for you to take. You aren't made to make other people. It's not your job to fix someone who is broken and who doesn't want help, because most narcissists are not going to want help. If anything, they believe that everyone else is the one who needs help because they are stupid and they are just average and useless. So you don't try to change a narcissist. Trying to do that is going to leave you tired, and honestly, it's just going to aggravate all these symptoms you get from the mental strain of living with a narcissist. So yeah, you also need to know when it's too much. For example, if the narcissist in your life gets verbally abusive, if you have a way to handle that, then it's okay. But if they get physically abusive and they start making threats, and you feel like you're just at risk when you're around them, then maybe you need to find a way to get yourself out of that situation, because narcissists have this rage when they're confronted or when things don't work as they want them to work, and you never know when they're going to go too far with this rage. So it's best to stay safe. If you try and you don't succeed, then there's really no shame in just walking away entirely and starting afresh somewhere else. So I hope that this is helpful. As always, I love hearing your comments, your thoughts on my ideas and opinions, because that's essentially what they are. And I really look forward to interacting with you. Next video, I believe I'm going to talk about the narcissistic rage and maybe how to tell that it's coming on so that you can avoid it or keep yourself safe. I was stupid enough to get in the way of that rage, and I learned the hard way that it's, even if they've never been physically violent before, there's always a first time, and that first time might be the last. So yeah, as always, stay safe, please. And remember, any gender can be narcissistic. Anyone in your life can be narcissistic. Just take care of yourselves and try to stay strong, and don't lose yourself in this terrible world that a narcissist builds. I'm starting to ramble, so I'll end it here. Goodbye, stay safe.